The increase in wearables has developed a trend towards self-monitoring in one's life. Hey you, that Apple Watch or Fitbit you're wearing is collecting data about your behavior, your physical and mental condition. The built-in algorithms in your wearables let you monitor different aspects of your life, such as your heart rate, daily steps, female health, and much more.
60,000 self-tracking applications in the App Store. Some track fitness levels, food intake, while others track emotion, phone usage, and sleep cycles. As these self-tracking applications and wearables are becoming more popular, there has been a debate as to whether they are actually helping or harming us. People who support self-tracking biometrics are claiming that they help track information so that the user can get meaningful data. This is helpful because it creates more accurate data and saves time with doctor visits. On the other hand, self-tracking applications and wearables create a significant amount of data about a user's public and private life. This data could be shared or even sold to third parties. This invasion of privacy can be furthered if skin electronics and injections become available. In addition, some of the wearables do not even meet the data safety standards. There are definitely strong arguments for both sides. It all comes down to one question. Do the benefits of self-tracking biometrics outweigh the cost? In my opinion, it does. These kind of applications have helped people reach fitness goals and create more accurate data for health concerns. For example, I personally downloaded a tracking application for my food intake. I wanted to know what food groups I should be eating more or less of, and whatnot. A few years ago, I went to a nutritionist to ask about how to improve my food diet. She asked me what a typical breakfast, lunch, and dinner looked like for me. I struggled to say exactly what each meal consisted of because each meal was really different, so I didn't know what a typical meal kind of looked like for me. Looking back, if I had this application, I would be able to show her the app and tell her exactly what I would be eating every day. This would have helped me because she would have been able to tell me exactly which part of my meal I need to fix. This definitely would have made my visit more effective.
There are many benefits to these applications and self-tracking, however, there are also some disadvantages. As we are all spending more time using social media, putting more information online, concerns about privacy always comes up. The data we input into these applications is seen as less as self-directed measurement and analysis and more about the analytics and consumer data. This is harmful to us consumers as there is no regulation to where the data these smart devices and apps collect goes to. To add to that, many of these health apps do not meet the data safety standards or guarantee the accuracy of measurements. I believe that these devices are beneficial, however, I worry about the recurring data breaches. Just to name one, the 2017 Equifax data breach in which personal information such as consumers' social security number and credit card data was exposed. Although we aren't putting such are Although we aren't putting valuable information like our social security number into these applications, information about our health and biometrics are inputted, which can be used by companies to target specific ads, which was done with the Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal. Regulations on data collection is important so that we can keep improving these self-tracking applications in hopes that these apps can have a positive impact on our health and wellness.
When most people think of personal informatics apps, they typically think of apps that monitor things like the user's heart rate, exercise, and diet. While the information gathered from these apps is useful, it is important to continue looking forward to the potential of personal informatics while being aware of the risks involved. I'll be looking at Natural Cycles, the first FDA-approved contraception application, as an example. Natural Cycles requires the user to input her daily morning temperature into the app so an algorithm can learn her cycle and fertile status. After gathering enough data, the app displays whether she needs to use protection or not that day. With perfect use, the application is 98% effective at preventing pregnancy. Natural Cycles and other similar applications provides one with a method of birth control that is non-invasive and doesn't require taking chemical-based birth control, but can have side effects. Natural Cycles has a similar problem found in most personal informatics apps, the need for continued use. While perfect use doesn't require measuring every day, it is recommended that users provide their temperature 5 days a week within a 4-hour window. This application requires a commitment from the user, which can lead to higher drop rates. Another common problem with personal informatics apps is the need for users to understand the information provided to them. Sometimes it takes the form of faulty mental models for how things work. This can be demonstrated with how birth control effectiveness is understood by the general public. It is not surprising that many people believe a 98% effectiveness means that after each use there is a 98% chance you will not get pregnant. In reality, the effectiveness is a measurement of continued use over a 1-year period, which is far greater than a 98% chance with each use. This doesn't have a negative effect for the users of this application. It is important for users to understand the information an app is providing.
The developing trend of health informatics as a product has made health conscious living more popular and accessible. From products such as DNA sequencing for ancestry to smartwatches that monitor health rate, health informatics has given people the ability to access their medical history quantitatively. From DNA testing, people can check if they are at risk for any genetic diseases. Watches that monitor heart rate, sleep quality, and blood oxygen levels are all examples of how medicine is redefined by the new innovations from the health informatics industry. Unfortunately, because of how information is readily available, health informatics has opportunities for major breaches in confidentiality. Information is readily available, and if it is not open to the public, the information is easily accessible. Companies are also willing to sell confidential information about their consumers to other companies. This breach of information is mostly used to target consumerism of the people who have had their information stolen. While many may argue that health informatics is an invasion of privacy, the benefits of health informatics outweigh the breach in privacy. From the development of health informatics, patient care is improved because of the accessibility of information. Using quantitative data is more beneficial for physicians as they can more readily develop diagnoses based on the information that is provided to them. As people are generally unaware of how to accurately describe their symptoms, quantitative data can be beneficial by helping physicians because of how they can take qualitative information from patients and come up with a better diagnosis.